Hey yo, everybody! Welcome into Juno Talks Ball. I hope everybody is doing well. And as always, we're gonna give you the latest and greatest on Manchester United. Obviously, the takeover is has been for the past 2 weeks. Manchester United last played 11 days ago. Where Scott McTominay had two last minute goals to win the game for Manchester United. And since then, we had much talk about the takeover, and obviously Qatar has pulled out, and Sir Jam has basically put forth his proposal to acquire 25% of Manchester United, um, and part of his what's the word? Part of his requirements of his deal is that he takes over the footballing operation. So basically, it only makes sense that he wants to take over the footballing operation. The way I see it, it's there's two main reasons you want to do that. The first reason is he might not have all the money to acquire Manchester United. And if Manchester United is not firing at all cylinders, not a mainstay in the Champions League, not challenging for titles, not winning trophies, and he needs to go get additional funds to acquire Manchester United, it's going to be more difficult if Manchester United is not firing on all cylinders. So that is the first thing I'll say. That he kind of understands there's been like a 3 year limit set on when he needs to buy the Glazers. Obviously, um, there's a meeting tomorrow where the Glazers will discuss and vote on this deal. And there's also mentioned that there is also clauses that still need to be clarified, and obviously there's some negotiation that needs to take place. But according to reports, 3 years. In 3 years' time, he'll have to buy out the Glazers. And the thing is, the Glazers had just turned down Sheikh Jassim, and because Sheikh Jassim was only putting forth 5 billion, and obviously, what's his name? Sir Jim. Obviously, Sir Jim has evaluated the club at a higher amount, and the Glazers want 6 billion for the club. Well, at the moment, they want 6 billion. However, in 3 years' time, it might be that the club is valued at a higher price, and if that is the case, Sir Jim is gonna have to fork out more money because you know how the Glazers roll, and in order for him to do that, if he doesn't have the funds himself, um, he will have to get funding from other parties. And in order to do that, um, he has stated that he will get the funds through Ineos and not through Manchester United. But if Manchester United is in a great footballing position, it will be easier for him to go get that funds. Anyway, the takeover has been delayed, guys. The takeover has been delayed due to the fact that the clauses have not 100% been sorted. The board needs to vote on the deal, and also the Premier League needs to vet and approve the deal. Now, the way I see it, I think that Sir Jim is in the driving seat as things stand because he's the last man standing. He is the last man standing. Obviously, with Qatar and Sheikh Jassim pulling out, um, the Glazers almost have nowhere to go with regards to the funding that they need for the stadium. The club is in disarray. The debt that needs to be financed, and because of all these issues, all these small issues at the club, they never said they were going to sell. I think us as Manchester United fans need to realize that they never said they were going to sell, and that is also why I think Sir Jim had to redesign his proposal on a number of occasions in order for him to get into the club, and that is also why I think um, Sheikh Jassim has failed. Um, if Sheikh Jassim would have given the Glazers the 6 billion, I think they would have sold. But I think they are on the fence about the sale, and they want what they want, and they think with Sir Jim's evaluation of the club, I think they will get what they want. So, if you think about it, the it's a complicated deal. Sir Jim is going to be pumping quite a bit of money into the club, into transfers. While there's reports that he wants to dip into the transfer market in January already. And in order for him to do that, he would probably also want to pump money into the club. However, he just needs to be careful as Manchester United is in a sticky situation with all the debt that Manchester United have acquired and basically doing transfers and FFP. It's become a sticky situation. I mean, we had to get Amrabat on loan. If that doesn't tell you the situation that Manchester United is in, then I don't know what will. Um, and then he wants to revamp the stadium. Obviously, in my previous video, I mentioned the current number of seats is about 75,000, and he wants to up that to 90,000. And in order for him to do that, there's going to have to be clauses to make sure that he's protected. Because to revamp a stadium is no joke, guys. To revamp a stadium is no joke. It's expensive. Construction is expensive, and I'm sure that Sir Jim wants to have his backside covered, but also you know how the Glazers roll. They also want to have it their way. So there's going to be a bit of negotiation. Unfortunately, we were told that Thursday is going to be D-Day. However, it's going to get pushed out slightly because of the factors of these clauses that needs to be finalized, and obviously the Premier League then needs to come in and basically verify. And the reason why the Premier League comes in is because of the Glazers' initial purpose. I mean, in initial purchase. Initially, the Glazers bought the club on debt, and it is now illegal to buy a Premier League club the way the Glazers have bought it. So basically what the Premier League does, they've put laws now in place so that a club can never be purchased like the Glazers have purchased the club. And also, I do hope, this is the one thing, I do hope that Sir Jim is putting a clause in place or steps in place or triggers in the contract that allows him to purchase more of the club as time goes on. If he leaves this out, I do believe that the Glazers is going to take him for a ride, and I'm pretty sure many of you believe that the Glazers is going to take him for a ride because so far they've taken everybody for a ride. They've taken the fans for a ride. They've taken Sir Justin for a ride, and they have taken Sir Jim for a ride. However, Sir Jim has found a way. He has found a way in, and then um, takeover side. I can't wait for football to start, so we don't have to speak about this takeover so much because this takeover is like the main news out there. However, there is some transfer news that has also been reported recently with Tolani's ban. So Tolani, when he was playing for AC Milan, he was betting basically against the club, uh, or he was betting on the matches that AC Milan was playing while he was playing for the club, which is absolutely illegal. So he's basically admitted to that, and he's going to get a lengthy ban. So Newcastle is going to have to replace him, and they have earmarked three players. One being a Manchester United player, Scott McTominay, the centre mid that should be playing striker. Another one is Calvin Phillips and Andre Santos from Chelsea. For me, um, I I wouldn't be going for Scott, man. Scott shouldn't be playing deep. Scott shouldn't be playing in the midfield. Scott should be playing off the bench as a striker, in my personal opinion. I don't think he should ever play in that centre mid position. He goes to hide. Um, he doesn't show himself for the ball. He's not the greatest at tackling. I've seen so many times when players have just skipped past him. The best time we've seen Scott is when he's making runs into the box. I mean, we've seen him shoot from outside the box. We've seen him score spectacular goals in the box. So I honestly think Scott is a striker, and there's been reports that he was a striker in the youth team. So I don't understand why he hasn't continued on that trajectory. Um, so yeah, so Scott McTominay is on Newcastle's list. So Sancho, we're still speaking about Sancho. He still hasn't apologized. He clearly doesn't care about the team, because if he cared about the team, if he cared about Manchester United, he's seen how Manchester United has been struggling. And the fact that he hasn't apologized just basically shows that he doesn't care about Manchester United, in my personal opinion. Because if I cared about the team and the team wasn't playing that great, I would have just sucked it up and apologized, so I can get on the team and help the club in this difficult period. However, Juventus, Barca, and Dortmund have all been in talks with him uh, for the January window. Not sure if it's going to be a loan or a buy. I'm pretty sure all the clubs that are coming in is coming in for to loan Jadon Sancho out, especially because Manchester United is going to want a big asking price. I know we paid around 60 or 70. I'm pretty sure that Manchester United is going to want at least half. And also, his wages is massive. He's on 300k a week. Who is going to pay the 300k a week? We always do this. We always give out this massive contracts that we cannot tell players. I mean, look at Maguire. Maguire never left, basically because there was no agreement between, firstly, uh, the club in West Ham and Manchester United, but there was also no agreement between Maguire and West Ham. And Maguire's wages is also quite steep. So hopefully, with Sir Jim coming in, he wants to bring in either um, Edward, that was currently at Liverpool, or he wants to bring in what's the other guy's name? Mike, is his name Mike? I forgot his name. What's it? So it's Edwards, and actually I have his name here. I can't remember. Paul Mitchell. Yeah, so Michael Edwards and Paul Mitchell is the front runners. Obviously, Paul Mitchell was previously at Southampton, Spurs, and he just left Monaco. And Michael Edwards was previously at Liverpool and the club. So hopefully, with these guys coming in, they will sort out the payment structure. That is one thing that the football director needs to do, is sort out the payment structure at Manchester United, because Rashford is on high wages. Everyone's on high wages. I mean, nobody is earning what they should be earning. And the problem is, if these players were firing, if we were winning leagues, no one would be complaining. But however, we are not firing. We are not winning leagues. We have not won a league since 2013, 10 years ago, guys. So that's a big problem. So the structure of the football club needs to be readjusted, and that is why we need the Glazers gone, or we need the Glazers to relinquish the powers, like basically what um, Sir Jim is trying to do. He's trying to get them to relinquish their powers, and hopefully that works, because we need to sort this out. We need to get rid of the Maguires, get rid of, okay, Phil Jones is gone, get rid of Sancho. If Rashford, I think you should give Rashford this season and look at him. If he doesn't get form this season, maybe give him one more season, because it's a Manchester United lad. But if not, we need to sell Rashford as well. Many people will be saying, if he doesn't need form this season, sell him at the end of the season, and I'm for that. I'm just thinking he's an academy player, so maybe we give him a bit of time. But if Rashford cannot find form, last night he scored, so hopefully he will find his form going forward now. However, he hasn't been great for Manchester United. And then Manchester United is also interested in another centre mid that plays for Benfica and Portugal. Deloitte has come out and spoken greatly about him, basically saying that he's still kind of raw and he has a bit of nervousness, but you can see the talent is there. He plays for Benfica, and his name is João Neves. João Neves, who plays for Benfica. And I really do think that it's a great thing that we're getting these youngsters in, man. I think these youngsters is honestly, um, it doesn't even have to be youngsters. It just has to be players that work hard, because we've even heard Erasmus come out and say that Ten Hag, when he interviews, he asks if you're a hard worker. He loves players that works hard. He also loves players that can run. If you look at his Ajax team, if you look at what he's trying to do at Manchester United, I actually think we've looked the best when we've had players that run. That's why players like Nacho look so good. That's why Mount has been looking good in the system. That's why Hoyland has been looking good in the system. That's why players such as Hannibal have been looking good in the system, because the players need to work in the system in order for the system to work. And players like Rashford, who hasn't been great, um, players like Bruno, who doesn't get around the pitch well enough, players like Casemiro that also doesn't seem to be getting around the pitch well enough. I honestly think it's because of the tactics that Ten Hag is employing. It doesn't suit their style of play. I do think that Casemiro can come right. I do think they all can come right. However, I do think they're going to all have to look at themselves. With these other players that aren't first choice, that truly suits the system, in my personal opinion. And I basically made a video called Strongest 11 that basically outlines who I think these players are. And then the last one, Inacio, he plays for Sporting Lisbon. And this is the second time Inacio has come up. He plays centre back. It's the second time, I think, in a month now that his name has popped up in the transfer realm. Let's call it the transfer realm. It's the second time, and if a name pops up more than once, Manchester United is definitely interested. Liverpool is also interested in him, because obviously Liverpool, Van Dijk is obviously the main man, but I don't think Klopp is really happy with the current partners, and he obviously wants to improve. They do have centre backs though. Honestly, with Manchester United's injury issues, I think we are more desperate for a centre back. I think when I look at the Liverpool team, I think as soon as they sort out their CDM, I think the whole team is in a click. It's gonna be like a key, man. It's the same with us getting Amrabat. That number 6 position, you've even seen City this season, where Rodri has been out for 3 games and they've lost 3 games. Now we can't just say it's only Rodri. Obviously, De Bruyne is also missing. However, it just shows how important that CDM is to modern football. I mean, if I could bring a player back, I would honestly bring back Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick in the last 10 years. I know Scholes was a magnificent player, but Michael Carrick was not only a ball playing CDM. Um, he just read the game so well. Like Scholes didn't really have that defensive side. Scholes had to play with somebody to cover him, but Carrick could do it alone. He just obviously lost legs at the end, but Carrick could do it alone. So if I had to bring somebody back from one of the older Manchester United teams, I know people say Roy Keane, but I'm thinking a bit not that far back. I'm thinking a bit more recent. I'll bring back Michael Carrick. I think he'll fit in perfectly, man. He dictated play. He broke up play. He had magnificent balls from the back. Um, Michael Carrick, one of the most underrated midfielders, in my personal opinion. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know which transfers you would like to see. Also, let me know where you stand on Sir Jim. I know many people are still upset with Sir Jim. They're calling him Sir Rat. I don't blame anybody for doing that. I would also have preferred Qatar, but we need to move, man. We need to move as Manchester United, and as long Manchester United makes money, and as long as we can get the football structure right and just relay that onto the pitch, I honestly think that we are going to see a Manchester United that is going to be challenging season after season, and hopefully we will win a Premier League in the next 5 years, guys. Pray for it. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.